And a lot of you have places to go. So this week, like Henry VIII with his wives, I will not be keeping you too long. But I do have something brief to discuss. We're continuing our discussion of happiness. That was funny, Henry VIII. Happiness now. Okay. Continuing our topic of happiness. And, this week I ran across, it was a little cartoon that had Sylvester the cat, which I think Looney Tunes is now outlawed on all TV stations right now. It's too politically incorrect or something. But in any case, Sylvester the cat, for those of you who know who he is, they stand like this and he says, "Today I got my happy pills and my ticked off pills mixed up. I took one of each, so now I'm ticked off and I'm happy about it." And this is often, I think, what sometimes happens. Is we don't really know what happiness means. And in today's, in the gospel reading for the ecclesiastical New Year, which just happened, which, by the way, is a remembrance of the creation of the world. So that's why you see the Lord creating there in the icon of the tetrapod. And so, the Troparium for today said, "O Creator of the universe, you appointed times by your own power. Bless the crown of this year with goodness, O Lord. Preserve in safety your rulers in your cities, and through the intercessions of the Theotokos, save us." And in the reading, Jesus stands up on the Sabbath day for the ecclesiastical New Year, and he reads from the book of Isaiah, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me." Remember, Christ means the anointed one, right? "Because he has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and recover sight to the blind, and to set at liberty those who are oppressed, and to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord." And so all of those things, we might say, would have to do a bit with happiness. And, of course, the blindness that he's come to heal is spiritual blindness. The liberty that he's come to give us is spiritual liberty. He hasn't come to release us from our job by having us win the Powerball and things of that nature. So, in any case, the gospel, the good news to the poor, and that good news is very important to our happiness. And another gospel reading from yesterday was, "Come to me, all you are labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light." So Jesus wants us to get rid of our heavy yoke. What is a yoke, by the way? Not a yoke.
They put on the ox to pull the cart.
Right, to pull the plow or to pull whatever, the cart, the plow. Put it on the ox over its head, and so Jesus tells us that he expects us to work out our salvation, but his yoke is easy. Why? Because he's come to deliver us from the things that weigh us down and consume our energy, our addictions, our desire to produce absolutely nothing good or positive in our life, which there are a lot. So, the last time we discussed how biblically the word for happiness in Middle English was translated blessedness. Now, in English, we misuse the word happiness a lot. It's come to acquire some meanings it didn't have back years ago. And that was evident last week when I asked, and of course, a lot of songs, we contrast happy and sad because we think of happiness as a feeling, but happiness is not a feeling. Joy is a feeling. And joy is a product of happiness, but happiness is a virtue, it's a state. And its traditional meaning is contentment, a state of contentment, well-being, satisfaction, or being blessed. That's its traditional definition. Happiness is not a feeling, it's a virtue. And we have to work at it. So last week I asked what the opposite of happiness was, and a lot of people said sadness. And again, the opposite of happiness is not sadness. The opposite of happiness, or the opposite, or we should say, it's the absence of joy is sadness. But again, our culture has become so deprived of vocabulary that now we use happiness and joy interchangeably. And you know, I want you even to go back to old movies and see that this is true. You rarely see anyone in old movies say, "I feel happy." You hear, "I am happy." You know, I remember one of my favorite movies is The Bishop's Wife around Christmas time, and Julia says, "I'm so happy," and she doesn't say, "I feel happy." Elsewhere in the movie, she says, "I feel gay," and which obviously you couldn't say that today and have most people understand that what he meant was feeling joy. But you had more precise terms that were used back then for the feeling. But the state of the soul is happiness, a condition of contentment and well-being. That the soul that results by being blessed by God, by having the presence of God's grace. When you look positively on the things that God has given you and positively on the blessings that He has given others. Consequently, happiness involves exercising of gratitude to God for the things that He has given you, beginning with your life. And so on this ecclesiastical, at the beginning of this ecclesiastical new year, when we remember the creation, that God created us and all the universe, let's also remember that He's given us multitudes of blessings that we just don't think about, that we take for granted. Sure, you got stuck in traffic the other day, but you had a job to go to. You had a car to drive. We don't think of that as a blessing. We get frustrated by the negative, but we don't rejoice in the positive. Like there could be 10 positive things in a given situation, and we look at the one that goes wrong, and we put our energy into that rather than all the things in the situation that go right. And we need to discipline ourselves to look at it differently. So, in any case, happiness stems from our walk with God. It is a state of contentment even in the midst of turmoil. And there is a natural consequence of ceasing to walk with God. He's the source of this power called happiness. And that's the purpose of us being here and us given all that we have. As we read back in Genesis, for us to walk with God. Another reading from yesterday, an Old Testament reading, said the Lord spoke to the sons of Israel, saying, "If you will walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and do them, I will give you the rain in its season, and the land shall yield its produce, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit. And the time of your threshing shall reach into the gathering of the vine. The gathering of the vine shall reach into the sowing. And you shall eat your bread to the full, and you shall dwell securely in your land. And I will give peace to your land, and you shall sleep." Sleep is very important to happiness. And none of you shall be afraid. "And I will look upon you, and I will bless you, and I will increase you, and multiply you, and establish my covenant with you. You shall eat the old stores, the oldest of the old, and you shall carry off the old to make way for the new. And I will establish my covenant with you, and my soul shall not be disturbed with you, and I will walk among you and be your God, and you shall be my people." The Lord says, consequently, however, if you do not hearken unto me, I will set my face against you, and you shall fall before your enemies and be made subject to those that hate you. And you shall flee when no one pursues you, and I will break down the haughtiness of your pride. long as you walk perversely before me. And I will walk contrary to you. So ultimately, as we begin this new fiscal new year, but that would older than that is the ecclesiastical new year, let us dedicate ourselves to walk in such a way that God does not walk contrary to us, but rather walks right by our side as was always meant to happen in the first place. And let us remember these words. Keep my statutes, and I will walk among you, and I will be your God, and you shall be my people. Lord, may this be until we draw our last breath in this earth, and give us the way to come. Eternal blessedness, walking with you in paradise. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the